your God power. Get everything you ever wanted and live the life of your dreams. The Master's Course. Copyright 2010 by Richard Lee McKim Jr. All rights reserved. Let the quest for knowing begin.
Big lie number 1. It can happen to anybody. This is the biggest lie of all. Nothing can happen to you, unless you are eliciting it into your experience. The big drug companies and insurance companies want you to believe that you are at risk, and the truth is, you are not. An example, train accidents. The big lie. Anyone can be killed in an accident.
There was a study done by parapsychologist William Cox on train accidents in the U.S. He found that on the days that the trains had serious accidents, there were much fewer people on the train than would have normally been on the train on that same day in previous weeks. This means that these people who for some reason decided not to take the train were actually responding to a gut feeling brought on by the residents of an upcoming accident. Remember, there is no such thing as an accident or a coincidence. For those who felt good about their life and had a good outlook on life in general, their reality would have prevented them from getting on that train. Maybe their car broke down on the way to the train station and they didn't make it. Or maybe they got up late and missed the train. Of course, it could have been a straightforward gut feeling that they shouldn't take the train that day. It doesn't matter how the circumstance plays out, just that it does play out in a way that matches your meanings. If you expect to be safe at all times, then things will happen that end up keeping you safe. These quote-unquote things and events are elicited from a sea of all possibilities by you to create and fulfill the meanings that you are transmitting.
Obviously, being in a train accident could not happen for the people who didn't get on the train on the days that it wrecked. However, if they believed in danger and early death, they might have ended up on those trains that wrecked. It could have killed them. Next example. The lottery winner. The big lie. Anyone can be killed in a terrorist attack.
In the next video example, you will meet Dave Edwards, a very lucky quote-unquote man. He had just won the jackpot on a $42 million Powerball lottery. Video example, lottery winner survives 9/11. What is this video about? In this video example, Dave tells the story of how he won the lottery and had his life spared in the 9/11 attack. Because he was the big winner and a celebrity in his own right, he was invited to close the New York Stock Exchange. It is a big honor to be the one who slams the gavel down to end the trading day. Dave was scheduled to close the exchange on September 11th, 2001. The weekend before he was to fly into New York, he started getting sick to his stomach and had a feeling of great fear come over him. He called his stockbroker to tell him that he wasn't going to be able to make it this time and would he please reschedule him for another time. The stockbroker got quite upset and was complaining because it had been so much trouble getting this set up for him in the first place. Dave replied, in his own words, quote,
I know how crazy this is. I'm not coming to New York to close the stock exchange because I got a weird feeling something bad's going to happen to me. Well, I've got the feeling. I've never had it before, and I'm in a bathroom right now throwing my guts out. Now, I'm not coming.
Unquote. So on the morning of September 11th, he got a frantic call from his stockbroker shouting, "Turn on your TV!" so he turned it on in time to see the news from the first plane hitting the tower. The stockbroker continued, I got a call from the guy at the New York Stock Exchange who was complaining that we weren't there. I told him that there was a memo that you were not going to be there. The man started shouting and said, you were supposed to be here right now. Then the phone line went dead. The stockbroker continued and said, I just want to thank you because I'm a father and my boss is a father and we would have all died had we gone. What does this example show and what does it mean? This video demonstrates that like cats and dogs, people are able to sense resonance from coming events. Of course, like everything else, it all depends on how personally relevant the event is and how strong it is. Life and death events tend to be very strong, while a coming traffic ticket or a hangnail will be very small.
Obviously, dying in the 9/11 attack could not happen for Dave Edwards, who didn't go to the stock exchange closing, even though he was supposed to be there. However, if he had believed in danger and early death, he might have ended up in the World Trade Centers when they were attacked, and it may have killed him. Next example. Eating eggs and junk food. The big lie. Anyone can get high cholesterol.
This next video example is from Michael Talbot, who wrote the amazing book, The Holographic Universe, which I highly recommend. It is an excellent book. In this rare clip, he is giving a lecture based on his book and on the research that he had conducted. This clip is mostly audio with a few pictures, but in it he tells many affirmation stories. Of course, he didn't call them affirmations, but anything that you think or say that relates to you or your world are affirmations. That is, they either assert or confirm your reality for the better or the worse. Video example, be careful of what you say. What is this video about? In the video example, Michael Talbot is relating a few stories that bear our attention. He says that we should never say bad things about the food that we are going to eat, like, I shouldn't eat this because it is bad for me. He says that we are not only feeding our body, but we are also feeding our mind. The first story that pertains to our subject is of a man who thinks that he has to eat eggs to live. So for the last 15 years, he has eaten 25 eggs a day. That is over 135,000 eggs that he has eaten. This normally would cause a huge cholesterol problem. But his levels are not only fine, but his levels are actually lower than normal, despite how many eggs he has eaten. He is in good health because he thinks that eating eggs are good for him, and so they are. Always the meaning of the situation. There is another story of a man who eats mainly bacon fat and still has a normal cholesterol level.
For best results, pause this video at this point here, and watch the video example mentioned in the segment. The links are located in the book chapter, and at the end of the book. If you are watching this online, you will find the link for this video example listed in the notes section. Then, after watching the associated video example, continue watching this video from here.
Another woman eats nothing but junk food, but she was a great follower of Edgar Cayce, who said to always bless your food, and so she does. She says things like, this food will only be good for me and it will nourish my body. And so it does. Her health is perfect. Another woman wrote on her chemotherapy medicine, healing elixir. She gave it a label that denoted a wonderful and beneficial medicine and not the harsh and destructive chemical that it really is. He says, always be vigilant about what you tell yourself. What do you tell yourself when you look in the mirror? When you look at your body? When you are about to eat? When you go to the doctor? About your job, your spouse, your kids, your life? Michael Talbot makes a very good comparison when he says that, in his own words, quote,
I always liken human beings, we're like infants sitting at the control panel of jumbo jets, because we have all these amazing capabilities and things, but we're just flicking switches out of ignorance. We don't know what, how to work, and we're not taught. We're taught. Our culture strives very hard to teach us what to think, but not how to think. And it's far more important to teach how to think than what to think.
Unquote. He then gives great advice when he says, when you're going to say something bad about yourself, ask yourself, what is the payoff if I do this? And then decide if you should continue. What does this example show, and what does it mean? This is a great video segment. It is full of great stories told by Michael himself that make the very same points that we are making. Whatever you think and say, you create for yourself. That is the most wonderful ability we could ever have. That is the essence of your God power, to speak a meaning and then create its reality. It is never about what you eat or do or any aspect of your experience. It is always about what you think about it. What you think about it is a direct result of whether or not you have aligned with a decision.
Obviously, getting high cholesterol could not happen for these people, even though they ate huge amounts of eggs, bacon fat, and junk food. However, if they believed the foods that they were eating were dangerous, it may have killed them, or at least made them very sick. How to keep anything from happening to you. While it cannot happen to anybody, it might still happen to you. If you are eliciting it, you will experience